Welcome back to the 2 Months Podcast presented by Sheena Boychuk Real Estate. I'm your host, Joshua Marshall. We have a very special guest joining us early this morning here, Friday morning. So we're looking forward to having Brent Sutter back on with us, the owner and general manager of the Red Deer Rebels and two-time Stanley Cup champion in himself with the New York Islanders. So played over 18 seasons in the National Hockey League for the Chicago Blackhawks and the New York Islanders. So and went on to win 3 Canada Cups. So the resume is great. Over 400 games as a head coach in the NHL too. Great junior coach. Obviously coached the best world junior team in history. And that was the 2005 team with Sidney Crosby and the cast that they had there. Sutter's back on with us for his third visit. So looking forward to this interview, and I hope everyone else is too. So a great way to end a really good week for our podcast in terms of some of the guests that we had on and the conversations that we had. We appreciate your support, and like and subscribe to us on YouTube, and any of the other platforms that you guys listen to us. Even if you want, give us a review. We appreciate any kind of feedback at all. Good constructive criticism is anything. Any criticism is good. So take it in any which way you possibly can. So thanks to Brent for joining us. Without further ado, we're going to get to our interview now with Brent Sutter from the Red Deer Rebels. Our NHL News and Notes segment is brought to you by Sheena Boychuk. Yes, you heard that last name right. That's Sheena Boychuk. As a licensed realtor, Sheena has you covered to buy and sell your home in this hot market. She also offers home consulting services to help you upgrade your living space. Check her website out at sheenaboychuk.com and tell her the 2 Months Podcast sent you. Realty by Design, your design approach to real estate.
Coach Rupper here from 2 Months. Thanks for tuning into the podcast. Now let's grab a knee. Have I got a deal for you? We have teamed up with Manscaped, and we can save you some big-time coin this upcoming NHL season. Guys, are your sticks and pucks getting hairy in the corners? And gals, is your goalie still using horsehair Coopers? Well, let's wake up! Use the code 2MUTS to save 20% plus free shipping on Manscaped products. Listen, we all love to score, and we all want to win the cup. Why not do it on a fresh, clean, smooth sheet of ice? That way we all win. Manscaped is the only way to go. Again, the code is 2MUTS to save 20% plus free shipping on Manscaped products. Now let's bring it in. Manscaped on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Mutts fans, our next guest is back with his third visit. He's won 2 Stanley Cups with the New York Islanders. He's played over 1,000 games in the National Hockey League, 18 years with the Islanders and the Chicago Blackhawks. He's won 3 Canada Cups. He's the president and general manager of the Red Deer Rebels. We'd like to welcome back to the 2 Months Podcast, Brent Sutter. Brent, how's it going?
It's going well. Thanks, bud. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Awesome.
Just enjoying a nice week off, and we've had a really good episodes these weeks. So it's nice to finish this off with a stand-up person in yourselves, and I appreciate you coming back on with us. And I guess we'll kind of talk about your team before we kind of get into some great topics. But I know it hasn't been the road trip that you guys wanted, but you guys got 2 big games coming up this weekend. One tonight, it's Nickelodeon night, and you guys will be doing a silent auction for the great charities that you guys work with, and that's the Children Miracle Network. So how excited are you for tonight's game? Against a really good opponent in it, but the season's been a pretty good success too, Brent.
Well, I'll start with the season. I mean, obviously we didn't start off as well as we would have liked with the quality of team that we felt we had. We just seemed to struggle in certain areas, and you bring in new head coach and new assistant coach, things are a little different, and it took some time for everybody to adjust. Derek came from down east from the OHL, and he was assistant coach in Peterborough for the last 6 years, and then just adjusting to our league, the travel, just first time head coach, the way we play out here, the way we play inside our own hockey team. It just took them some time, and but by middle November we got going, and until we went on this last road trip, it was we I forget what we were. We lost two shootout games in month of January, and everything else we had won, and we had a good month of December too. So um and the end of November. So, we went on the trip, and yet it's like explained to the coaches and the players yesterday, it's I've been in their shoes. I get it. When you get on a run like we've been on, for, almost 2 months, you probably win some games down the stretch of it where you probably in normal circumstances, you 1-1. Just little details weren't good in our game. Our specialty teams weren't as good. But we were still finding ways to win, which was a good thing. And yet it does catch up to you at some point. And when we went on the road trip, you're playing some very, very good teams in the Eastern Division, and then you get drilled between the eyes, and it's a big wake-up call. And so I look at it that way. I look at more of the positive side of it. It's going to be now how we respond to it and work ourselves out of it. And hopefully it'll make us better down the stretch here. And but you lean into this weekend. I mean, every game is a big game for us. Obviously with Moose Jaw and Medicine Hat, it's with Medicine Hat, we're fighting for first in division with them. And then with Moose Jaw, it's fighting for that top in staying within the top four and top three in the league, and so in our conference, so and get home ice advantage in the opening round. So it's good. It's a good test for our kids. Every game's a challenge in this league. There's no easy games. So and obviously tonight with the Jersey night and stuff like that, it's a pretty cool night happening.
Yeah, it definitely is. In your years of hockey and how long you've been involved in the game, how important is to face some adversity, Brent, and throughout the journey of a season, to kind of make it, when you do face that adversity in the playoffs, that you can lean on maybe something that happened in a season. How important is that?
Well, I guess at the end of the day,
You
you
don't
wish you
want to
never
face
had
it, yeah,
adversity,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
But everybody does, and yet, like I talk to the players all the time about it, and the staff, and you know what, adversity happens in life, right? And it's just how you deal with it, and with these kids, you learn at a young age, and yes, it's just a sport and it's a game, but there's still ups and downs and peaks and valleys in it. And it's just how you handle everything and try to stay even keel with it and manage it the right way, think it through properly, use each other to lean on, help each other out through it. When whether an individual is struggling or in this, in the game of hockey, team struggle at times, you got to stay upbeat about it. You got to hold your chest out and head high and keep forging ahead, and try to stay positive with it. And and like I said, in a team sport, you really got to lean on each other. And I, again, I talk to the team about that a lot, and just not, on ice stuff, but push each other off the ice to be better, whether it's in the gym or, fitness training, whatever it may be. Try to help each other out to get better every day.
yeah. Where are you at with the game right now, Brent, on, the skill and the development side? We're just seeing, this game getting so much better with skills and plays like that, and still having the appetite for the guys that are like the Kobe Armstrongs, the Colin Fraziers, how, and obviously seeing a guy like Brandon Hagel kind of go through the
Yeah.
rigors and then turning into a great pro. How where are you at with the game in the junior level and now transitioning over to the pro level too?
Well, the game has certainly changed in the last even half a dozen years. You could look back, 10, 12, 15 years ago, the game was played a little bit different, but you adjust and you adapt to it. It's funny when I was coaching in the NHL back from 2007 to 2012, at that point in time, the game was changing and it was getting faster, uh, and players were bigger but faster and more skilled, and the guys that were a little bit older, they were having a harder time adjusting to that and adapting to that. But but you make adjustments, and something we stress here, we definitely want to be a quick team, have as much skill as you can on it, but you still need to have the other ingredients too, and character to go with that, and guys that really care, and good teammates, and everything else involved. And so it's changed, but there's certainly a lot more skill. The game is quick in today's game, and a lot of it has to do with the game changed a lot when they took the red line out.
Yeah.
That made a big difference in the game. Transition games and everything that changed and created more speed, and but at the end of the day, it's still, you got to have that inside you to want to push through things, right? And because it is a competitive environment when you get into a game. You're playing against an opposition that wants the same thing you want, so it's the ones that want a little bit more. And I think Nazem Kadri said it best, and it's crazy saying, but it's so true. When he talked about the Flames that night when they beat Boston, that
Yeah.
you can be a bunch of hyenas and they can take down a lion,
Yeah.
and yet you still need a little bit of you know hockey sense in it. You need skill in it, and but if you work well together as a group, it's like our team. Like I tell our players that there might be teams out there, especially with the trades that were made at the trading deadline, that are leading up to it, that they might be a little more highly in, they might have that high end skill, but it's going to be your will and want that's got to get you through those times. And there's a lot of times that teams will persevere in those situations. So we just got to stay on track here.
Yeah, and you have a great leader in Cayuchez. Can you talk about kind of the leadership skills that he has? Obviously filling in for a great player in Jaden Grube last year, and obviously Grube doing a great job with the Bakersfield Condors this year. But talk about Uchez and what he brings into your team every night and having the season he's having right now.
Well, it's just not the on ice, it's the off ice, the way he's been with, in the community. He's willing to do whatever needs to be done. And he's just a player that, obviously learned from the past, and yet he's grown up a lot. He puts it on his shoulders. He wants to be held accountable. He holds his teammates accountable, and doing everything right. And again, he's learned from the past, and it's made him a better person. And he's been, like I said at the start of the year, our team ticks off him,
Yeah.
right? And because he is just one of those players that and a person, the way he's grown up and matured, that guys do lean on. And and until you're in the environment and see it, it's pretty remarkable how far he's come in the last 3 years. And that's a credit to him, but it's also a credit to the organization and everybody involved in helping him. And he's been a very, very I guess, as far as leadership is concerned, at a high standard, and it's been outstanding to see.
Yeah, and you've been around a lot of them for sure, and obviously wore that captaincy throughout your career too. You got a good pairing in Carmichael and Lindgren. Can you talk about with those two guys? I know it's a whole team effort, but the chemistry that they've had as of late and throughout the year, and obviously we talked about Lindgren last time we had you on, and him being drafted, but that pair seems to be pretty good, and you got a tall defenseman on the back end too with good reach.
Well, it's like all players, they go up peaks and valleys throughout a year, and coaching staff try to get the most out of every individual. And we've changed our pairings up a little bit on the team throughout the year. The only probably steady pair has been Weir and Fabrizi. And yet there's nights where they've struggled too. So, but we expect a lot from our defense because it is an older defense. We expect them to play the game the right way. And as you get older, there becomes more accountability put on you. And we expect a lot from those guys, and rightly so, because they're all guys been in the league for 3, 4, 5 years. So it's a good D. Pairings can fluctuate a little bit from time to time, just the way guys are feeling or playing or whatever. It's got to be a feel that the staff has, and right now, with Lindgren and Carmichael together, it gives us a pretty sound pairing, as long as they play the game the right way,
Yeah.
right? And they do things the right way.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's fun to watch. Like junior hockey is really awesome. We're close with Vernon Fiddler and his kid, obviously playing for the Oil Kings this year, and seeing kind of
Yeah.
the foot speed and the development that he has in his first year in the Western Hockey League. Is great to see. And obviously, you speaking of an older decor, Fabrizi got a nice goal the other night. Can you talk kind of about his poise and the all around game that he brings to you guys?
Well, he's has his ups and downs for sure. I mean, it's with Faber, it's still a work in progress. He's a big man, and when he plays that way, he's very, very effective. And he can be an intimidating factor out there in a sense, just with his long reach, and he's a big body, um, and he's got to play with a little bit of bite in his game, a little bit of edge, and when he doesn't, his game struggles.
Yeah.
And yet he's still a young guy trying to find that niche, exactly what he is as a player. And but we think he's taking strides. We do expect a lot from him. He's in next year, he'll be going this year, he's his third year, next year will be his fourth year in the league. So, we need him to be a good player for us down the stretch here.
Yeah. Let's talk about your second line, centered by Ollie Josephson. The chemistry that maybe his line has had, throughout the year, and obviously, as you say, there's ups and downs, but what he's been able to kind of bring in that line's been able to bring to you guys throughout the season.
Well, Ole plays a 200-foot game. It's something that, and that's a credit to Steve Konowalchuk, our ex-head coach, and his staff for the last year, where we had a meeting at the start of the year, and I told the coaching staff that, Ole was 16 years of age, but make him our third line center, and that's where he plays. You never take him out of the lineup. You never move him to the fourth line. Make him become a very responsible player 5-on-5. And as the season goes on, allow him to play penalty kill, and then get deeper in the season, put him in some PP situations. And he grew as a player, and the leadership has been outstanding for us. And he's such a great young man. He cares very deeply about his game and about the team. And you know what you're going to get from Ole every night, right? And and the offense there will come with him. He's getting chances, he's getting opportunities. It's just that part of the game. It's just maturing a little bit more with that. But his winger that's played with him all years, has been Brigley, and Brigley's played well. And that pair we've kept together. We've kind of rotated the left side a little bit, whether it's been Bernie or Latimer, or right now they're playing with Kalen Lind. So it's been kind of maybe a little bit of revolving door there with the pair. But that's okay. I'm still a believer in you try to work with pairings, and whether it's you always talk about it on the back end, but I kind of look at the forward group too. And if a line is going, leave them together. If something's struggling, leave the pair that you think is very sound, that work well together, leave them together, and try to fit something in that works. So that line's been good.
Yeah, it definitely has been. And Kalen Lind obviously drafted just recently here. How excited are you to see throughout his development with your organization, and the player he's turned into off the ice, but also what he has done on the ice as well too?
Well, Kalen's a really good young man. He's competes hard, plays hard. It's still just finding his game, right? And as far as exactly what he's going to be as a player, he's got a skill set that's very high. But it's just with Kalen, it's having that line that you can't cross of being on the edge, right? And with discipline and and he's still got to get bigger and stronger. To play professional hockey, it's a big man's game, and you play the way Kalen plays, and he has to play that way to be effective. Um, he's going to have to continue to work on his body and make himself, stronger that way. But he's a very good hockey player, and we're excited that, obviously we probably won't have him after his 19-year-old season. He's a signed in-shell player, so
Yeah.
we expect him to be a very good player down the stretch for us this year and into next season too.
Yeah, no, it'll be fun to watch for sure. Where are you at with your goaltending? How excited and grateful and in a way of looking at the development that you have in the back end in net, and and how important that position is of setting your team up to succeed here.
Well, it doesn't really matter what league you're in, what team you're on, what team you have. You have to have goaltending to be a team that's reckoned with or going to be effective. Goaltending is everything about confidence for the group. And when the group feels confident with their goalie, you play better. You just seem to, you've just seemed like you find a way in your game that you never have to cheat on. And if there is mistakes made, the goalie's going to be there to make the big save for you. And it's huge. Our goaltending has been really good. Stos came off tough injury last year down the stretch, and a knee injury, and he missed the last part of the year, and then he missed basically all training camp, and then he got going, and he had a I guess a high when he first came back, and he kind of flatlined, which to be quite honest, I wasn't surprised, because it happens with most guys. I've had that injury.
Yeah.
You're excited to get back, and then all of a sudden it's kind of like you hit a wall, and you got to get through that or over that, and he's still finding his way a little bit with that, but it's certainly coming with him. And then Watsky's been outstanding for us. He's come in at the start of the year. It was kind of like a battle with Stos, and then we were playing who was going, but then in the last probably month or so, or month and a half, he's really taken a big step, and he's becoming a very, very good goaltender in this league.
Yeah, that's awesome. We'll kind of change gears a bit. Obviously, stick with the development side and what's kind of the training that goes off the ice. But I know in the past and currently, you guys still do some work with Sheldon Kennedy with his respect group. And how important that is, the education and the respect that you have for your peers and for the people that are around you and in your community. Can you kind of talk about the training that you guys done in that program, and then also maybe the additional training that you guys do amongst yourselves, in your own organization of, as these young men come into your organization, you're obviously making them, great hockey players, but also great human beings too.
Well, respect in sport is, and that's kind of what the model we use. And it involves a lot of different things. But, it's something that you got to continue to stay on. It's something that, that it's got to be ingrained in these players. It's unfortunate that it kind of, when they get to our level, it kind of gets thrown on our lap. And, and I wish there was more training with it through the minor hockey systems as they coming up. And I believe there can be. You just need to have people that are more committed to doing it. And yet, you're dealing with kids that might be, 8, 9, 10 years of age, but, again, it's really important for our society,
Yeah.
right? And in general. So, so we do have a lot of different programs that we run. We have worked with Sheldon in the past, and we continue to do so. There's so many different programs that fall under the respect and sport side of it, and we try to nail every one of them. And it can't be just a one-off. It's got to be something that's discussed a lot. We try to meet with our players throughout the year at different times. We try like once a month or whatever and just go through things with them and talk to them about it. And if they got anything that they want to talk about, it's and it varies at different levels. But I tell you what, it's been really good for these players, and we address it right at training camp when all the players and parents are here. We'll have 100 and some people in we'll do just a talk on it and a video session with them and stuff like that and go through it all. So everyone knows when they come to the Rebels, this is what it's about and this is how it is. And this is what we do in the Western Hockey League and the way it has to be done. And then we follow up on it throughout the year. And so, and you stay on top of it and you'll talk to the kids about it before they go home and in the summer too, because it's important to the summers that they don't, go sideways and get off track with the different things that's discussed.
Yeah. In those workshops that you guys do, because I can attest to the kind of the ones that I put on through my work, there's always sometimes people aren't as open to talk in an open setting, but do you find in those workshops maybe something a little bit after where the relationship and the friendship and is built a little bit bigger? Maybe if someone comes to you, in a private setting, obviously what they say in private is private, but because what I found in the situation I'm in, Brent, in construction is, standing in front of a lunchroom of, 300-400 workers kind of talking about respect in the workplace and that, several times when I open myself up to be vulnerable of what I've went through in my life, it does give you a sense to kind of, for someone to come to you, not in that open setting, but in a private setting. But how, for you, how important is that? If you've seen that, you don't have to name names, obviously, but, the importance of just, building that relationship longer, because I feel in these workshops, it's just not a one-off kind of thing. You guys are obviously doing them throughout the year. And, those relationships are built for a lifetime in a way too, where, you're going to have these young men be friends forever. And just something that's very special. Can I kind of touch on that a little bit if you can?
Well, you know what, and I'm a big believer that you win it and you have to set a path and provide the leadership on that. And what we have found has been really important is let the players, after that's in place, then let the players take it and lead with it.
Yeah.
Right. And in a forum setting, once players talk, they're more at ease with each other talking about things. And it's really good to have the players take the leadership on it, and whether it's your leadership group or maybe it might just be a group of players, and then let them lead the way in that. And yet you're kind of, whether it's myself or we designate two people inside of our staff to oversee it all, and they do an outstanding job with it. And then the players know that, that if anything comes up, that they can go to those guys, or maybe a teammate might notice something with one of his teammates, and and they'll bring it to our attention. And my door is always open in my office to the players. It's funny. It's a coach is a coach. They may not want to tell you everything.
Yeah.
But now my relationship with the players being a GM now, instead and removing the coaching away out of it and being strictly the GM and the owner of the team, there's more of a open dialogue there, and they know they can come up and talk to me about things anytime they wish. These kids are like your own, correct? And
They sure are.
and they just got to feel like be at ease to be able to do that. But in a group setting, I think it's imperative, it's very important to allow the players to take the lead on that. You've provided the direction, the path. You can be there to even continue to give them some direction through it and stuff like that, but really let them take it within the group and lead the way in that, right? And then it makes the players more at ease to talk about it. And it'd be like an employee in a business, like let's just use your construction business for an example. If you're in a forum setting, you got a bunch of different people in there. If you're the one always doing the talking, right? After a while, it gets mute, right? Like they just shut you out, right? So, but if you let the group interact, they feel more comfortable. And it's like being in a counseling session with a group of 10 people, and you might be the counselor, but then you let the individuals, and after time, they feel comfortable talking about things, and they might not always bring up absolutely everything, but then they know that they got someone to go to, which is myself or one of the other two people, that, hey, I need to discuss this, or I need to get some help in this, and then it's up to us to make sure that, to do whatever it takes to make sure that they get the help they need in whatever area it may be. So, and we got a great support staff in Red Deer here to help us with that kind of stuff. So it's been really good. Our model here has been really good.
Yeah, it has. And anyone that knows the organization and knows the pedigree, and the individuals, the players that come out of your organization, there's countless stories of, obviously the goal is to make the National Hockey League, but sometimes that's not. And some of these other great players that have been in your organization have turned their careers into something else in business or whatever, and they got all that from you guys. So I appreciate that a lot. I have a lot of respect for the Sutter family, and for what you guys have done for junior hockey in Western Canada, and the pedigree that you put forward with. I do will do transition over to some, maybe a little bit NHL talk. I know it'll be kind of easy to do that now, or maybe hard, but I think what we just talked about was important and something I really want to pick your brain on. But so I appreciate your comments there on that, Brent, and very well said. Just the teams here in Alberta, it's hard not to watch both of them. Obviously, you coached for the Calgary Flames, and the teams are right here. But we'll start with the Flames and kind of what you see for their season so far. Obviously, some guys being traded as of late, but two big wins these last few nights, and where you're at with kind of seeing their development, and seeing Ryan Huska as a first year coach, and obviously you had Craig Conroy in your fold too when he was a player and now being a general manager.
Well, I know both of them. Obviously, yeah. I coached Connie, and then when I was coaching there, he was an assistant GM, and so I know him pretty well, obviously. Yeah. So, and I'm not surprised that obviously there's tough decisions to make on it moving forward as an organization, and I got great ownership in Calgary, awesome people, but you do know that there's it is a business at that level. And, and yes, you're trying to win every game 100%. But when players become unrestricted free agents, or are going to become unrestricted free agents, and if they're not willing to commit to something that, from an organizational standpoint, that works as far as contract status, then you have to move on, whether you're winning or losing. All right. That's just smart. That's running your team the smart way, right? And players know that too. And so what happens with a couple of these guys moving forward with the Flames? You can see they're trying to work the young players in, and Ryan's done a great job with that. They're playing with a lot of emotion, a lot of intensity. They seem like they're having fun playing the game, which is very important too. And we'll just see how it unfolds from there, from now till till the trading deadline. I certainly watch it a lot. I have a lot of respect for Connie and the management staff there. And obviously, I know Ryan, coached against him. He's a very good coach, a young coach, up and coming guy. So, um, you know, there's, there's a lot of excitement there for sure.
Yeah.
And, and I know everybody wants to win every game. It's just the business you're in. You're trying to win the Stanley Cup every year, but
Yeah.
there's also you got to have reality and expectations too. And they're in a certain part of their of time inside the organization. They're trying to work younger players in and trying to grow their team and you might say stock the shelves a little bit with picks and stuff like that. And because in the model today, it's no different in our level. Um, you have to develop, you got to draft well, and you got to develop from within for sure, 100%. And I'm a big believer in that. You know, I what other teams do, I can't worry about, right? It's something you focus in on your own team and your own organization, what you need to do. Um, the Flames are at that point where, there's always tough decisions to make, and there's tough decisions to be made from now to the trading deadline. But um, the organization and the future of the organization is always going to come first and foremost.
Yeah, over the very well said. And over the last couple of years, I got to know Mikael Backlund, and we had him here on our podcast, and he spoke very glowingly about you and very high about you. Even Daryl too. Obviously him being the second most Calgary Flame player of all time, just right under Jerome McGinley. The progression that Michael's had throughout his career, and how you seem like you have a little smirk there and happy about that, in a way of like being proud of a guy that you've helped mold. And you guys, as a Sutter tree, you guys drafted and developed him. How excited are you to talk about him and seeing what he's done in his career here?
Well, with back, it's funny. He was just a young player when I was coaching him,
Yeah.
and there's so much growth there, right? He was smart. It was just maturing as a player. Like it's hard to come in the National Hockey League as a young guy, and there's a lot of expectations early. And for me, it was with back, it was allowing him to mature as a player, continue to grow as a person. I'm not surprised at all to see where he's at and what he's done, and to be behind Jerome, and as far as history of the Flames. And um you know and when he signed here this past summer, I wasn't shocked by that.
Yeah.
He's a very loyal guy. His first wish was to stay in Calgary. Obviously being captain of the team, which isn't surprising either. Um, but when I coached him, he was just a young guy trying to find his way, getting his feet wet through it. And he had some great leaders around him, some veteran players around him, and you just had to let him grow, right? And but at the same time, teach him the proper way how to play the game, develop him the right way. Um, you know, he was certainly going to outlast me there.
Yeah.
So, so and so it's fun to see that and see his game today and how he's playing. And he's a great 200-foot player, very smart, and his little details to the game are very good. And seeing him, is going through his relationship with his wife and everything and as that grew and stuff like that, I think it's all pretty cool. So, and I'm obviously very happy for Mikael.
Yeah, the Kling Clancy Award last year was pretty sweet to see too. Well deserved for him and his wife Phaedra. But we'll finish up on the Oilers here. Mooner, he's the guy that set this interview up a couple years ago to first get connected with you, and a great person he is. I do work with the Maple Leaf Athletic Club, and obviously he's an alumni there, so we do have that kind of bond. But what you saw the Oilers, obviously pretty impressive to have 16 straight wins in the National Hockey League at this juncture of the season and at any time. But where they're at here, and how excited it is to kind of watch like Connor and Leon and some of those other great guys over there too.
It's pretty, it's pretty cool to see. It's and they had a tough start, obviously, and that's obviously well documented, um, and yet they've certainly found their way through it, and they kept their heads to the grindstone. And unfortunately, there's had to be some changes made, but that is the nature of the beast, nature of the business, and the players have certainly responded to it and have played very, very well. I mean, I watch as many Oilers and Flames games as I can. I mean, I love to see, both these teams be successful there in our province, and it's
Yeah.
professional hockey, and obviously being involved at that level, you certainly keep tabs on it and watch a lot of different games every night. And yeah, if the Oilers and Flames are playing, they're usually the first ones. Now that son Brandon's not playing, they're the first games I always go to watch. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
the Oilers say, listen, to get on a run like they had, it's pretty remarkable, right? And and you look how, there's a lot of hard work put into that. It just doesn't happen, right? And again, it's a very competitive, lot of parity in the National Hockey League, and to see them win 16 in a row like that, and they're not going away. Let's put it that way. Like
Yeah.
when you have the quality of players they have, it was going to turn around. It was just win, and it certainly has. And I don't believe it'll affect them that they lose that game 17. I think they'll just carry right on and push right through. I mean, you see where they're at now. They're sitting third in their division. And they're not gonna go away. It's just gonna continue to grow and get better. That when you have the quality players they have,
Makes a big
and
difference, right?
it's huge, right? And Skinner's played very well for him. So I'm excited for the Oilers, and I know son Brandon went to their training camp this year and stuff there, and unfortunately he had a little bit of a setback that he had to, coming from missing year and a half or 2 years, I guess 2 years of hockey with long COVID, and then it forced him to have to call it quits and retire from the game. But the Oilers, hey, listen, it's another first class organization too, great people there, and I'm excited for them for sure. And it's like two different ways of looking at this, right? The Flames are on one model and the Oilers are another, and both models are running along pretty good right now. So it's exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, we were all pulling for, I was talking to Elliot Friedman when Brandon signed there. We were all pulling from, it took a lot of courage for him even to get to where he got to, and that,
Well,
right?
yeah, exactly. I think it's he worked hard to get back to that point. A lot of, until you're around someone personally that is experiencing that and going through that coming out of COVID, you really don't know,
You know,
right? And him obviously being my son, and you see it, and you're right there a lot helping him through it, and it can really, it really puts things in perspective, right? And so I was very proud of him, as we all were, to see him get back to that level. But it was just that every day thing, doing it day in, day,
yeah.
it eventually, he started noticing little things coming back, and it wasn't worth it, right? At that point, he was, he needed to, you need to step away, right? And it's kind of similar to Jonathan Tay's situation, right? So,
Yeah.
it's, yeah. Anyway, he's doing well, and he has a very young family, and he's got a lot of great things happening for him around in his life right now, and he needs to focus in on that.
Yeah. Do you think, if you don't mind me asking, do you think he'll get involved with you guys, or kind of get back in a game in maybe a development role or something like that? If I don't know, if you don't know
I
any
don't
better than
know.
that, but um,
Yeah.
people are cheering for him and would love to see him, because obviously you guys being involved in hockey is always a great thing. So
Yeah, that's going to be his call. I mean,
yeah,
him and I've had mild discussions on it, but number one is his health.
right.
and his family, and that's first and foremost. And getting to that point is to where he's feeling good like a normal person would. That's first and foremost. And for him and his family, and all his loved ones around him. So I don't know. It's gonna be his decision. Like I said, we've had brief discussions on it, and if it's something he chooses to do and something he wants to do, he knows it's here for him if he wants it, and that's kind of where I'll leave it at.
Nice. That's nice to hear. Brent, thanks for your time. Really appreciate it. It's definitely an honor, and very grateful and blessed to have these conversations with you. So I really appreciate it, and all the best tonight and tomorrow night and the rest of the year, and good luck in the playoffs when that hits. And hopefully I'll be able to maybe finally meet you in person soon, but
Yeah,
I'll get out to Red Deer one of these
yeah,
days off. So, but thanks for everything you do, and thanks for everything you guys do in and out of hockey here. So all the best.
yeah. No, thanks, buddy, and thanks for having me on anytime, pal.